Hey, everybody. Thank you for joining us. You have just
Yeah.
tuned in to Where is the Love? I am one of the hosts. I am Stephanie Hockenhall. Joining me is my handsome, wonderful son. Introduce yourself.
Hello there. My name is Adisa Karaja Malik, also known as Gene Williams, to those who aren't initiated. No, I, I don't know why I said that. I wanted to make it sound complicated. Never mind. How y'all doing out there? Hey y'all, we on the air.
Thank y'all for joining us. We are right now. We are on YouTube, Love Misunderstood Institute, and Premier Fitness 0210. Um, we're also on TV. I should have said that first. We're on Roku and Amazon Fire right now while we're airing the show. Um, all you have to do is go to Pod TV, POD TV space LIVE, and you can watch us live on Roku or Amazon Fire right now while we're airing the show. Otherwise, you can go to our YouTube channels, which I've already said. You can go to those at any time and look at the replay. Also, I'm LinkedIn right now. And we're on this Facebook. We're on Facebook Love Misunderstood Institute. So there's many places we are right now. So we want you to join in on our conversation wherever you
Right.
feel like you need to or want to ask a question or make a comment. We welcome those. We welcome conversations. You want to add anything?
No, I'm actually ready to dig in.
Okay, so let's get started.
All right. So we have been talking about the making of a bully. Like there, with every movie and every story you have, the villain and the hero have an origin story. So all of these characteristics and things that that we do come from somewhere. They come from either, as we were talking about backstage, it's nature and or nurture. Uh, so we're just going to go, into family patterns, emotional neglect, and what children may learn before they hurt others. So again, always welcome back, family and friends. Thank you for joining us today. Today we're stepping into the room where bullies are often created: the home, the family, the childhood environment that teaches us how to love, how to argue, how to trust, and how to handle emotional pain. So many people judge a bully without ever asking, what did this person learn at home? What emotions were allowed? What love did they see or lack thereof? What love did they never receive? Those are some heavy questions right there. Um, Hurt begins somewhere. Everything has its origin. People learn behaviors somewhere, and the childhood environment shapes emotional patterns that can follow a person for a lifetime. So today we're going to gently explore how family roles, emotional neglect, and learned behavior create the roots of bullying. We are entering this conversation with compassion, courage, and the willingness to see beneath the surface. We're going to dive deep.
That's so true, Gene. People forget that families are the first classrooms. Every bully learns somewhere how to be angry, how to be controlling, how to ignore people, how to shame others, or how to silence emotions. The world sees the behavior, but the home creates the blueprint.
Right. All right. So again, uh, before somebody becomes a bully, they were a child learning how to survive the environment. Every single home teaches emotional lessons. even when nobody says a word. Children are very observant. They
Yeah.
pay attention to everything you say and you do. And 9.9 times out of 10, they're gonna do what you do as opposed to what you say. So the home teaches how to communicate. It teaches how to express feelings, how to handle conflict, and that's a major one. How to deal with disappointment, how to ask for help, and how to show vulnerability. And some homes teach people to abandon their skills completely.
Yeah, and kids also learn emotionally how to what emotions are allowed and what emotions are not allowed in the
Right.
home. So here's a story. I want to share a story with you. Um, there was a family that looked perfect on the outside. Probably see a lot of those. It was a quiet home, two parents, good jobs, respectable image, but emotionally, that house was cold. Nobody hugged, nobody apologized, nobody said, I'm hurt. Nobody talked about feelings. The children learned to suppress emotions. Years later, one of them became a bully, not because she was mean, but because she never learned emotional connection. She only learned emotional distance. Now, I want to
Mm-hmm.
add to this story because I know of a family that experienced some of this, not all of this, but I am quite aware of a family that taught their kids to suppress their emotions. They weren't allowed to cry. They weren't allowed to show emotion or talk about. Um, they weren't allowed to cry. They were told, not to cry and stuff like that. So when you do kids like that, I'm kind of all over the place because my mind with that situation is really bothersome. But it's really hard when kids are taught that. And so they don't know what to do with their emotions. They don't have no idea how to regulate their emotions. And that can be very disturbing. And so this particular family that I'm talking about, I see right now, when they were younger, that's how they were taught. And so right now, they don't really know how to deal with their emotions. And so they're struggling emotionally, and they're struggling in a lot of ways to be able to deal with those things. And so they spend a lot of time in the flight, fright, or freeze. Um, what is it called? Situation.
Mindset. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's so hard to watch that. Um, and so, when it comes to seeing stuff like that, you have to, if when you love people, you find ways to figure out how to show them love and to express to them and show them another side of life. This is not the only way of life. And I'm sorry that you experience life that way. And I say that quite a bit to the people, because it's really hurtful to see that is how, they were raised. And we're all raised different. We all experience different things. But it's so important. I'll say this and then I'll leave it alone. It's so important to learn how to deal with your emotions and how to regulate your emotions, to acknowledge your emotions. And we've said so much of this on so many of our shows already. But I just wanted to bring that up. We need to be able to express. We need to be able to say, this is how I'm feeling, and not
Mm-hmm.
to stay in that place if it's a negative feeling, but to, how do I get out of this? Find ways to
Right.
get out of, to overcome, not to get out, but to overcome that negative feeling so that you can become a productive, peaceful minded, loving, kind person. You
Right.
want to add anything?
Yeah. So, and like you said, when you suppress emotions, it's like burying the seed.
Yeah.
Eventually that seed is going to grow a plant. Which could turn into a tree with fruit that it bears. what is it saying that the scripture? I mean, a tree is known by its fruit, something
Yep.
along those lines.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's what it says.
So so you bury negative emotions, and you're gonna have negative uh, manifestations of those
Yep.
emotions, uh, and they're not gonna be in your control.
Yep.
When you're given the tools to help constructively and healthily process emotions and process the vulnerability of them, then you're able to work through them and move on to better mindset, better position emotionally and mentally. But when you are not taught how to deal with emotions, you tend to lash out. Often people go into reclusivity. They have a hard time having healthy relationships.
Yep.
You know, they tend to, and I was having a conversation like this earlier this week. We tend to repeat the relationships that we had growing up.
Yep.
We often, as children, marry a person who's like a version of our parents, you
Yep.
know, or someone that we were around all the time. If you were around your grandmother all the time, you have a person, who's like that. It's like we repeat cycles.
Yep.
Everyone has patterns, and patterns are things that we find comfort in,
Yep.
whether they're a healthy thing or not. You ever notice how people have destructive patterns,
Yep.
and then but it's like they're used to it. They're so
Yeah.
used to it. When you try to change it, it's like
Yeah.
they freak out.
Yep. Yeah.
And that's the reality. Like we are often the patterns that we do unconsciously.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And I do want to add, there's always something you can do to help somebody. And so, I pray a lot. I say that a lot because I do. And so in prayer, something that came to me to help this family that I'm talking about is to start sending them affirmations every day. And so
mhm,
I just started yesterday, but I talked about it 2 days before and said, hey, this is what I'm going to start doing.
mhm,
And before I started doing that, I was talking about the importance of and the value in affirming yourself so that you're not having those negative feelings. But I see a lot of isolation also
mhm,
in them, and so that's why I started the affirmations. And so there's always a way you can help, whether it's just saying something positive. And for me, I do a lot of affirmations. I have affirmation books. One that I self-published already, another one I have done. I haven't self-published it, but that's just something, a way of me helping and being able to help people build their self-confidence. And so not only did I do that for them, but I'm practicing them myself. So I have my
mhm.
own self-affirmations that I'm doing daily to help build my confidence as well. So I just
Yeah.
wanted to add that.
And another gift you can give as a person, I mean, I'm talking about you as understood or universal, but you can also be an active listener. Be a shoulder the person can cry on. Or just a person they can confide in,
Yeah.
and you hold that space within sacred, so that
Yeah.
whatever y'all talk about, you show no judgment, you hold no judgment,
Yeah.
and then you're there for them to be heard and understood. Because really, if you think about it, in relationships and even in times of trauma, we're looking for understanding.
Yeah.
And we talk about this all the time. It ain't always about a person wanting advice. Sometimes a person just needs to get something off their chest
Yeah.
and need to be heard and understood. And that feeling right there allows them to feel vulnerable enough to come back to you when they have a similar situation.
Yep.
And also, when it's time for you to give advice, they're more open to it because you created that safe space for them.
Yep.
And I
That's
think that's
good.
very important as it pertains to relationships with people. We all experience trauma. Like not one of us is unscathed.
Right.
Not a one. We all got scars.
Yep.
Some are, you got more, some got deeper scars, but we all got them.
Yeah.
And having a community where you're able to be open and free and honest and vulnerable and have them ugly cries or your face is contorted.
Yeah.
It's a space that you can go back to and you can process things and start the process of healing. And that's where we're going with it. The goal is to we experience things, we learn lessons, and then we heal, and
Yeah.
then we evolve to a higher version, a higher vibration of ourselves.
Yeah. So we have another story we want to share, and Jean's gonna share that.
Right. All right. So story two is the house where anger was normal. I'm gonna read it and then I'm gonna say something. Uh, another home was filled with yelling, doors slamming, tension thick enough to choke on. The children learned that anger is how you communicate. Anger is how you solve problems. Anger is how you get attention. One of those children grew up to intimidate people at work, not because he was powerful, but because anger was the only emotional language he ever learned. Man, it's just going back to the point where we learn often in the home um, patterns. He obviously didn't have the tools to handle things constructively. But I do want to say that anger in and of itself is just an energy form. It's all about how you use it, because there is a such thing as righteous anger. You can be angry about something that you need. If someone did something wrong to you, you're angry about them doing wrong, you
Yeah.
know. But it's about how you act out that anger, you know. Um, so it's just important that we learn constructive ways of dealing with anger because again, I don't remember if it was a friend or my therapist or maybe both said that anger is often sadness's guardian. Like when that I was like, wait a minute. I had to sit back and say that one more time.
Yeah.
Say that one more time. But but yeah, like when you're sad, it's like you don't want to be sad and you're angry because a situation has come about that's made you sad, and now you're angry because it's like I don't want to be sad.
Yeah.
Um, and so, but there is a healthy way again to handle anger. Um, and raging out on people is not it. Raging out is not it. Learn constructive ways of discussing things. And if you don't agree, if both parties don't agree, then it's okay to agree to disagree.
Yep.
Like a lot of times, it's something that my therapist said was that a lot of this society spends time trying to be right. And that's the problem. So if I'm right, then you're wrong. You know what I'm saying? It's always a me versus you type mentality.
Yeah.
And really, what both parties need is acceptance and understanding.
Yeah.
It's ego that wants to be right all the time,
Yep.
and often ego's ultimate goal is destructive. So,
Right. Okay. So thank you for sharing that. So here's another story: the house of comparison. I knew a girl who grew up being compared to her siblings constantly. Everything she did was measured beside someone else. She learned I had to tear others down to feel equal. She
mm,
wasn't arrogant, she was raised in competition. So it's very hard to see and to stand by and watch somebody constantly tearing down somebody else. But now, just from this example, we can understand where that comes from.
mm,
So that person is made to seem like they're constantly attacking other people because that's the only way they know how to deal with things. And
mm,
who likes being um, compared to? Who likes comparison? Who likes being compared to somebody else? Well, you're not as good as so and so and so and so. Nobody likes that crap.
Hmm.
So it's hard, when you're experiencing that. And so, sometimes the only way to know how to deal with that is to, you know, tear others down and put others down. So that's just
Yeah,
another example. You want to add anything?
yeah, for sure. So in a situation of comparison, it's like both sides of the equation have the mindset that, like, okay, the one who's acting, comparing themselves or comparing others is like, I gotta compete with you, so I'm not good enough just with me as I am. I gotta outdo you.
Yep.
Why? We all have value. You
Yep.
know, we all came from the same source. We are all beautiful emanations of the ultimate all creator. So why am I feeling like I gotta do extra
Yeah.
to do better than you? I should just always do my best. And my best should always be good enough.
Right.
And same with you, you know. But when you compare, it's like I gotta, oh, okay, well they doing this, well they not as good as me, or I gotta up my game so I'm doing better than them. Why?
Yeah.
That's exhausting.
It is exhausting
Goodness.
mentally and emotionally.
Hmm. I ain't good enough. I gotta stay up. I gotta do this. I gotta read this. I gotta do that. No, that's. I mean, man. Now, if you genuinely want to become a better version of yourself, to be a better version of yourself, that should be all your concern.
Yeah.
But if it's to compete against other people, you setting yourself up for hell
Yeah.
of your own making.
Yep. So, families assign roles even if nobody says it out loud, and those roles shape emotional behavior for life. So, let's look at a few.
Right. All right. So role one, the tough, the tough child. The child who is told, you're strong, you don't need help, stop crying, you're the protector.
Yeah.
This child learns that tenderness is weakness. So later in life, they become harsh and intimidating because they don't know how to be soft.
Yep. So, here's another role, and this is the invisible child. So, the child is ignored, overlooked, or emotionally neglected. Invisible children learn that their feelings don't matter. So when they become adults, they either become people pleasers, and that was us, or they
Right,
become bullies trying to reclaim the attention they were denied. So
right,
now, by this information that I just shared, that should help you understand why some things are the way they are, why people may become people pleasers, or why they may become bullies, because they were denied attention, and now they're demanding attention.
right. Denied attention, denied a voice. You know, you got those people who felt like they weren't heard, so now they got to say everything all the
Yep.
time, and they have no middle ground. I
Yep.
always got to tell you how I feel.
Yep.
Sometimes, sometimes it's okay to be silent. It's
Right.
okay. You don't have to agree, and you ain't always got to say I don't agree, and here's why, and here's what we need to do, and na 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 na. No,
Yeah.
sometimes it's okay to be like, you know what, this situation ain't for me,
Yeah.
or this ain't the time for me to say this. So I'm gonna chill out. You know what I mean?
Yep.
All right, so role number three, the golden child. This child who can do no wrong. Golden children grow up believing their feelings matter more than others. Whew, this is the making of a narcissist right here. They
Yeah.
develop entitlement, dominance, and superiority, which easily becomes bullying behavior.
Yeah.
Like I said, that's the breeding ground for a narcissist.
Yeah.
And even the opposite, the invisible child, all depends. Some of them, like I said, they start over talking and overdoing everything, and it can go narcissistic route as well.
Yeah.
But the golden child, oh, they're primed for that. It's like I'm better than everyone. I am above you. Don't no, oh, clutching my pearl. Oh
Okay,
man.
so then there's the perfection child, and this child is expected to excel at everything. No room for
Mhm.
error, no room for softness, no room for being human.
Right. And perfection children often develop judgment towards themselves and others. When they see weakness in somebody, it reminds them of their own shame. So they attack it.
Yeah. Family roles are powerful. They create emotional rules. They follow us for years. But once you recognize your role, you can rewrite it. You can always rewrite how you are. You don't
Hmm.
have to stay the way you are. If the way
Right.
you are is not good for you and it's not good for other people, if you see yourself controlling others, if you see yourself constantly talking negative to others and talking down to others and um, doing things that are not good, and that's not creating a good environment, if it's creating a hostile environment, you have a choice. Everything that happens to you have a choice as to whether you want to receive it, you want to keep it, hold on to it, or if you want to open your hands and let it go. So absolutely
Hmm.
everything that's happening, you can rewrite it if it's not good. And I know people that hold on to things for years and don't want to let things go. And so when you don't want to let things go, that makes it hard for you and those around you, because they don't know how to accept what you're doing, and so that makes it really hard. So I want to talk about emotional neglect that look normal. Emotional neglect is one of the biggest roots of bullying and is the saddest part, that most people don't even know they were emotionally neglected. Because emotional neglect does not always look abusive, it looks like no hugs, no affection, no comfort, no praise, no conversations about feelings, no apologies, no emotional safety. But emotional neglect teaches silence, shame, fear, emotional shutdown, emotional overreaction, and controlling behavior. So I want to share another story with you. This boy who never heard, "I'm proud of you." And I know there's many people that have not heard those words, that desired those words. And because you desired those words and didn't hear them, you acted out. You may have acted out because you wanted to hear. So you may have acted out of anger, um, or frustration, uh, just to name a few, because you didn't get what you wanted. You wanted to hear, "I'm proud," for example. So here's a story. Um, I worked with a teen boy whose father never praised him, no matter what he achieved. It wasn't enough. So the boy turned to bullying other kids who got positive attention. So that's acting out of jealousy. He wasn't trying to be cruel, he was jealous of the love he never received. And that happens. Here's another story: the girl who learned love through criticism.
Okay.
A young
Uh,
girl once told me, "My mom always talks to me when something is wrong." She grew up believing criticism was love. So she criticized others, not because she hated them, but because that's what love looked like in her home. So
mm,
just from this story, um, we know that we do kids do what we do. We say this ain't good, or this is not good, or we shouldn't do this or shouldn't do that. But if we're doing it, then that's what they act out. That's what they do. So they do. We know, we've heard kids do what we do, not what we say. It's true. So that's just another example of that.
correct.
Uh, you want to add anything?
No, actually, ready for the next portion.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. So we'll discuss how generational trauma creates bullies before they even know it. So uh, trauma point number one: children copy what you just said. Children copy what they see. If a child sees yelling, they learn yelling. If a child sees silence, they learn silence. If a child sees manipulation, they learn manipulation. If a child sees kindness, they learn kindness. Children imitate emotional energy like mirrors.
Yep.
And we were also discussing on in the backstage before we started. Um, it goes one or two ways, generally speaking. If a child sees yelling, they either become the yeller or they are the ones who emotionally withdraw
Yeah.
when yelling happens. They see silence. They may either be the silent person or the one who's, you
Yeah.
know, So, again, the nature and nurture thing, we all have natural personalities. We look at some of the things our parents have done and I don't like that and I don't want to be like that. So I'm going to do, it's generally the polar opposite. If they're silent and I didn't like to see them get run over by people, then I'm going to be the one who's going to tell everybody everything or vice versa. My mom was always hollering and nah. So I don't, listen, I ain't got nothing to say.
Yeah. And we
So,
talked about that a little bit ago, but it happens like that. So basically, what that person has chosen is if I don't like it or I didn't like it, I'm going to be the one to change the trajectory. I'm not going
right,
to do that. So
right.
if you've heard a lot of yelling and that's something that you choose not to do, if you become that silent person, then it seems, may seem to you that you're getting taken advantage of and you're getting ran over and things
Mhm.
like that, because you're not speaking up. Um,
Right.
so, and there's a balance. And um, I just thought about how I saw, some things happening in my life and how I was so passive. So I'll just say that I was so passive, and I was around people to me that were aggressive. Not
Mhm.
everybody, but a number of people. And so I was like, man, I know once I became an adult and had kids, and I was like, man, there has to be a happy balance between, because I kept getting put down for being the way I was. But I
Mhm.
kept saying there has to be, I kept getting put down for not speaking up, but I just didn't
Mhm.
have the boldness, the confidence, the courage to do that, because
Right.
I was always wanting people to like me or to want to be around me, whether they wanted to or not. That's what I desired. But I
Mhm.
kept saying there has to be a happy medium between that person and how they are and me, the passive person, and just being quiet and hurting and all of that. And so it took years. And I know you remember this. You will when I say it. But Jean, you can learn from your kids. I don't care what age they are. And Jean used to say, "Ma, you don't have to speak. You don't have to say something to everything.
Right.
um, there's times, when it's okay to be quiet, and then there's other times, that you do need to speak up. So there again, here I am playing in my mind. There has to be a happy medium between that aggressive person that I'm not and this passive person that I am,
Right.
because I wanted to speak up, but I couldn't. I just couldn't. I just, like, all I can say is I didn't have the confidence or the courage.
Mhm.
And now I do. And some things I just shake my head at. Sometimes there's no response at all. I'm not saying nothing.
Right.
But I don't feel that sadness, um,
Right.
and that discouragement that I felt back then when I wasn't responding. It's like, man, you ain't, and I'm saying this, but
Mhm.
this is what I say to myself, man, you ain't talking about nothing. And it don't mean it's a man. I'm just saying that's how
Right.
I respond to it, to calm down or to not react,
Right.
to some things. Everything don't need a response. Everything don't need to be reacted to. Um,
Right.
and that reacting is what tear things down,
Right.
So especially if it's a negative reaction. So A lot of times that's what I just say. I just be like, they ain't talking about nothing,
Right.
and it's not like I don't care because I do. It's like I'm not letting that get to me, your what you said or what how you're reacting to me. I'm not
Hmm.
gonna let that how people say rent space in my head. I'm
Right.
not letting it
Right.
happen.
Live rent free. Yeah.
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 So you want to ask something? I just kind of
Yeah.
went
Yeah.
on a rant.
I was gonna even go even a little deeper. Like in the times that you have to react, you have to speak up. There's levels to that.
Yeah.
You don't need to go from quiet to You can be like, hey, listen, I'm not cool with that. Please stop.
Yeah.
That's a very calm way of putting the wall up, like the brick wall you got behind you. You putting up a brick wall, like, hey, player, that ain't gonna fly. We're
Yeah.
not doing that,
Yeah.
you know. And then I mean, there are times where you need to just go off on somebody, but those are rare. But
Yeah.
in those times, you need to, even in those times, do it under control.
Yep.
Because you start going off and start throwing hands for no reason, you going to jail. I'm just saying there's consequence to every action.
Yep.
So there's levels, man. Right thinking and
Yeah.
balanced judgment. You know,
Yeah.
sometimes
And
you don't have to say nothing. I ain't got nothing. You know what, playing? You do what you gonna do. I'm gonna be
yep.
over here. And when you get done with that, we'll talk again.
Yeah. Yeah. So when you said you go from, I don't remember how you said it, but it made me think of going from 0 to 100 real quick.
Real quick. um,
Mark said a couple things, which is why I was smiling so hard while you was talking.
yeah.
One of the things he said is Gina is about to get real deep, calm before the storm.
Yeah, I'm telling you. Hey, and that's when your voice lowers. Hey, listen, no.
Yeah.
It's like you get super calm. It's like you might want to leave that person alone.
Yeah. I heard this chick where I worked a few years back. She used to say, I don't know what you was thinking, but this ain't that.
Right,
So that makes me think of that too. And so Mark also says sometimes you need to go into that inner peace zone. That is definitely where you need to
yep,
be before you
right,
respond or react to something
hmm,
that is so unimportant.
right,
Somebody trying to raise your blood pressure, so to speak, or
right,
somebody trying to get a rise out of you is another way
right,
to say it. And so Mark said, "You do you."
right.
And he also said, Gene, the NASCAR driver.
He went to 100. But yeah, so going back to what you were saying. Shoot, dang, what was right before his last statement?
Going, he said, you're about to get real deep. I don't remember. I'm sorry.
Mm, mm.
So let's
It'll
just
come
go
back
to
to
the
me.
next one. Yeah,
Right,
they'll come back.
right.
Uh, inner peace zone. Was that it?
What is that?
That's all right. It'll come
Mm,
back.
right,
Mark says sometimes you need to go into the inner peace zone.
yeah,
So let's just go to the next part. It'll come back.
right. All right, so
Most bu-
again, children imitate emotional energy like mirrors, and that alone changes everything. Most bullies learn to hurt others by watching it happen in their home.
yeah.
They didn't choose the behavior; they absorbed it.
Y'all hear that? They absorbed it. They
Right,
did what they saw. They
right,
mimicked what they saw. They mimicked what they heard. They absorbed it. So when we think we're being, how people say, uh, what is it? Oh, shoot. Um,
a
I'm
victim of my environment.
no, some about being 100.
Uh,
Just be, um, how people say that all the time. I'm just being 100.
I'm
So
keeping it real.
Yeah, that those two things. I'm being
Mm-hmm.
100 and I'm just keeping it real. Sometimes you're being 100 or you're keeping it real don't need to even be said because you being a smart aleck, you being what it is you're saying and what it is you're doing is not helpful. It's
Right,
not healthy for anybody. You just being nasty and negative and bullying more than likely
right.
and what it is you want to say. I'm just keeping it 100. I'm just keeping it real. Sometimes just keep it
You should
quiet. How
always keep
about
it real.
that?
So why you got to say that?
Right. Cuz that what follows that I'm keeping it real. I'm keeping
Right.
it real. I'm keeping it 100. What follows that is something nasty.
Uh-huh.
Something
Right.
nasty and negative and unfruitful. I just say it like
Right.
that.
Yeah.
So, you want to add something?
Yeah, I was gonna say, and the fact that you gotta say that you're keeping it 100
It's
is a
like,
problem
uh-oh.
because you should always. Well, first off, yeah, that's a warning sign.
Yeah.
Uh oh. Uh oh. What's
Yep.
coming next? And second, if you always honest, then why you gotta say that?
Yep.
I'm just keeping it 100. If you were being 100 at all times and keeping it real,
Yep.
then you wouldn't have to say that.
Right.
I mean, that's an unspoken truth for
Yeah.
you if you're always being real. So, yeah,
Yep.
that's a setup. That's a setup right there. Dun,
Yep.
dun, dun.
All right. So here's another trauma. Generational trauma passes through behavior. So trauma doesn't only pass through genetics, it passes through tone. Y'all check this out. It passes through tone, through fear, emotional distance, shame, control, punishment, lack of affection. A child raised in trauma becomes an adult who repeats trauma unless they heal. I say this all the time. People talk about kids bully. Listen, what y'all need to understand, and I say this, and I don't say it like this, but I say, well, I just tell you how I say it. So I always just say, kids grow up to be adults that still bully unless they were healed from being a bully, unless they understood what they were doing and they changed the way that they were thinking and their actions. They grow up
Right,
to be adults because nothing changed. You just
right,
got older and
right,
more than likely you learn more of how to have more power over people because you've aged. So um, I'll just say it like this: there's well, no, because it's not wisdom, but the more I mean, you just learn how to work it more.
hmm
So so a child raised in trauma become an adult who repeats trauma unless they heal. That's just so true.
yep,
So I don't want to add
agreed.
nothing else to it because it takes my mind to some other places. I just hate that people don't acknowledge. Listen, well, people acknowledge what they're doing when they're doing wrong. They act like it's okay because of who I am and what I do, and none of that don't mean nothing. So
Right,
recently, I was speaking in a church. I was talking about bullying, and so I started with two questions. And sometimes I do this. How many people in the room know that they have been bullied? They raise their hands, mostly everybody in the room. How many people know that they have been a bully? And then you see very few hands.
right,
And so I raised my hand both times because I was saying, by show of hands. And then I
hmm
asked the questions. And so after I asked both questions and they very few raised their hands, on the being a bully part, I said everybody in the room should have raised their hands. And the pastor, when I said, "Have you ever? Do you know that you've been a bully?" And he said, "Yes."
yeah,
And I laughed, but I, kept my hand raised, and I said, everybody in this room should have raised their hand because we are. I said Jesus Christ was perfect. We're not, so we all bully, and we all get bullied. And so then when I started explaining it, I said, you know, uh, a few things. Have you ever been manipulative? Have you ever done this? Have you ever done, different types of bullying? Just the things included in the different types of bullying. When I asked them if they ever did those things, then the looks on their faces, and I said, and then I told them the definition of bullying after I asked, have you ever done
Hmm.
this? Have you ever done this? Have you ever done? Yeah. So uh, I said that to say that adults need to acknowledge the fact that we're not perfect.
Right.
We've said many times before, Gina and I, educate about this. We've learned a lot about it, but that don't mean that we don't bully. Um, that's not what we choose to do. So we acknowledge what we're doing. Oh, shoot, I'm doing this. This ain't what I want to do. This ain't cool. And
Right.
then you change it because we're not going to walk around in this world and be perfect because we're not
Right.
perfect people. Period. Nobody's perfect. If you think you're perfect, you'll lie and the truth
Right.
ain't in you. So,
At all. Ain't no truthing. Ain't no truth.
right. So go ahead with the next part unless you want to add something.
Got you. So a child can inherit emotional wounds that they never asked for. That makes me see bullies differently because they are carrying pain that started long before them.
Yep.
And how I like to talk about, cellular memory and whatnot. Um, we even have like the seeds of whatever our parents' personality is in our environment in us as we are being formed in the womb.
Yep.
The cellular information that our parents are, or the things that our parents are experiencing while we are in the conception stage are passed down to us.
Yep.
And also, not only our direct parents, but our ancestry. You know,
Genetics.
we, right, through our genetics. Um, things that transpired to generations before us, is still downloaded in our DNA.
Yeah.
We talk about, PTSD is in post traumatic stress syndrome, but we also got PTSD, post traumatic slave syndrome. You know what I mean?
Yep.
That's another one. We got that information, passed down from them and then beyond that as well, because we didn't start off as slaves. I need to say that. You know, we anyway. That'll be another deep rabbit hole right there. But we have information in our cells and in our DNA that was passed to us in generations way past, and it's up to us to acknowledge, to learn our history generationally and personally, to understand who we are and understand how we need to change because we're here to learn.
Yep.
The earth is a school. We're here to learn and become better versions of ourselves.
Yep.
We are here to evolve. You
Yep.
know, uh, so understand that you have to unzip, those that cellular memory and examine it. Put the light of your consciousness on it and break it down to its smallest, to its root. And then if it's something that's working for you, feed it. If it's not, dig it up, burn it,
Yeah.
and throw it away. You know what I mean? Throw the ashes away somewhere.
Yeah.
So, trauma teaches children that love is conditional. That is unfortunate. And I know well about that.
Yeah.
Conditional love sounds like I love you when. I'm proud of you if. You matter because, not
Yeah.
just I love you.
Yeah.
Period. I'm proud of you. Period. You matter. That's what we really seek to hear.
Yeah.
Uh, Children who grow up in conditional love often become controlling adults. They bully because they fear being unworthy.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I'm just gonna say it like this. I'm gonna keep it real quick. I know what it's like to be in a relationship with a person who, and within the family structure, where the love is conditional. They like you if you do this, if you do that. But if you don't fall in line with what they want you to do, you become a pariah in the situation where they
Yeah.
don't care what happens to you. But
Yeah.
when you fall back in line with what they want for you, then they tolerate because that's what it is.
Yeah.
It's not love at all. It's tolerance, and it's majorly different.
Yeah.
Majorly different. The person who loves you, it will be unconditional from top to bottom. You know, you get on my nerves sometimes, but and I love you.
Yeah.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean? But when you get on my nerves, I can't stand you. I don't want to be around you. Nah, 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 nah. Or you know, only like you if you do this to make me feel X, Y, Z. It's
Yeah.
the yo-yo syndrome. I
Yeah.
love you when you're doing what I want you to. I'm gonna hold you up here, and then when I'm tired of you, I'm gonna spring you down and get you away from me. It's like, man, who got
Yeah.
time for that?
Yeah. That breaks my heart. People who bully others are often begging to feel worthy, but they're doing it the only way and the only way they were taught.
Right.
And so different things can happen um, in your life. You know, maybe you give, you know, that person some extra attention and you don't want that person, you know, it goes back to the people pleaser. You don't want that person, you know, a particular person to be upset with you. And so when, you know, you deny them of something and they get upset, then you give in, you know, you may give in because you don't want that person, you know, mad at you. And
Mm-hmm.
so I've experienced that in life, and it's very hurtful, you know, because you know you don't know what the end is going to be for that person. So you know when that person, you know, really rejects you on a continual basis, then that's very hurtful. Um, but you know you didn't know this was going to be the result. I mean you're going to constantly reject me, you know, uh, because I don't do what you want me to do. And so that
Right.
can be very hurtful for the person on the other end, which goes back to what you were saying. I love you if, or I love you when, I'm proud of you if, you matter because, you know, all of that stuff is very hurtful.
Right.
You want to add anything?
I'm sorry. I was distracted by that. Like, what is that? Um, no, it's just important, man. It's very hurtful and very manipulative. You know, that's the start of again narcissistic abuse. You know, I love you when. You know, I'm proud of you if. You know, these things are again conditional,
Yeah,
based upon a certain condition. If you're not doing this, then I'm not proud of you. I don't love you if you're not doing this. So again, that's not love. That's manipulation.
yeah,
You know, um, but I think it's important that we take a moment to reflect. Um, so everyone, take a seat back in your chair. Take a deep breath. I'm going to ask you a few questions. So the first question would be, what emotional patterns did your family teach you? I think that's important. This is like your personal homework to do
yeah.
in your head, and if you want to write it down, pretty sure my beautiful mom will, have the questions in the we call it the comments, so that you have
Comment.
a,
Yeah.
right a chance to write them out. Second question is, were you the tough child, the invisible child, the golden child, or the perfection child? Um, what emotional needs did you have that were unmet? Um, what behavior did you inherit that you no longer want? Because remember, you have the power to change whatever's going on in your life.
Yep.
You have the conscious choice.
Yep.
And last but not least, what cycle are you ready to break?
Yep. And you don't have to judge your answers, just acknowledge them. That's where healing begins. So the thing is to give away what it is you don't want, and to make a choice. I don't want it, and then choose to change it, and then to go in a different direction, in a more healthy direction, in a peaceful, loving, kind direction, to change the trajectory of what your experience was, so that you can overcome it.
You know. So
Um, Go ahead.
All right, so I want to have us do a quick grounding exercise. I think grounding is important. So first, I want you to close your eyes, put your hand over your chest, over your heart. I want you to take a deep inhale through your nose and exhale out of your mouth, and then say gently, aloud, or even in silence, I am worthy of emotional safety.
I am worthy of emotional safety.
I can break the patterns I was taught.
I can break the patterns I was taught.
I am healing myself and my future.
I am healing myself and my future.
And I would take another deep inhale and then exhale, release, and allow that to be embedded into your psyche, to your consciousness, subconscious and conscious mind.
And then here's a healing affirmation. So repeat after us. I am not my childhood role. Or repeat
I
after
am
me
not
after
my
I've G.
childhood role.
Okay. And I am not my family's patterns.
I am not my family's patterns.
I am rising above what shaped me.
I am rising above what shaped me.
I am learning new ways to love.
I am learning new ways to love.
So I talked about the affirmations a little bit ago, and the importance of affirmations. And so that's what we just did. So if you um, choose and you keep saying things, the more you say things, the more you believe it, whether it's negative or positive. So it's up to you what you believe. It's up to you what you speak or what you allow to be spoken over you.
Right. Yeah, something Nana used to say to me all the time. It's not what they call you, it's what you agree to.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, so here's a weekly challenge I want you all to allow yourself to step into. Because we are, again, here to help facilitate healing by giving you all the tools. So here are some things that you can do this week. I want you to write down these things. The emotional pattern you inherited, the new pattern that you want to create, and then place it somewhere where you can see it, because healing is a choice one step at a time. You can write this affirmation down on a sticky note. I do that all the time. Write it down on a sticky note. You can put it in your doorway, or you can put it on your mirror. We all go to the mirror to clean our faces and whatnot when we wake up. Read that affirmation to yourself 3 to 5 times, you know, while taking those deep breaths. Um, and repeat those cycles and refresh your conscious mind about this is the direction I'm moving in. So moving consciously.
Yep. So, family and friends, today we looked into the home, into the roots, into the emotional systems that shaped who we became. So, remember this: you can outgrow what you learned, you can heal what you inherited, you can choose a new emotional legacy. You are not trapped in the patterns of your past. You are free to build a new future, and your healing is going to change generations. We love you and we're happy. We're walking with you every step of the way. Reach out to us for coaching. So we will see you next Sunday at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. We are signing off with peace, and love. Coach Steph and
Coach Adisa.
all right. Take care. See you next Sunday at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time, right here.